It's April and it's time for another haul video. I've got 5 budget watches to share with you today. Now they will be starting anywhere from $30 to $80. And these 5 actually include 3 automatics. There's 2 quartz chronographs. One of them is a mecha quartz, so a sweeping second with precision of up to 0.2 seconds. Also, out of these 5 watches, 4 come with sapphire crystal. So there is a lot to talk about, a lot to cover. So without any particular order, let's start going and talk about these 5 watches. Also, I'll be leaving the links to these watches in the description below the video, so make sure to check them out if you're interested in a sharp price. I will be reviewing these watches as we get through the month, of course. And now, let's get into it. First up is the Pagani Design YS5 version 3 with no date. This is an automatic 200-meter water-resistant diver watch, which gathers its inspiration from the Omega heritage. It's a homage to the Seamaster 300. Thankfully, the version 3 we have today omits the date window, just a symmetrical open dial that is balanced and perfect as it is. Notice the ceramic bezel, it's thin yet notchy, drawing close to the case, while the boxy sapphire crystal is pronounced just a millimeter above it. The dome of the crystal is minimal, and the elegant protruding glass above the bezel does not inspire a vintage look, rather a sporty and assertive appeal. The dimensions of the watch are a diameter of 41 millimeters, a height of just 12.7 millimeters, a lug-to-lug length of 47.7 millimeters due to inverted end links. We get a lug width of 20 millimeters and the bracelet tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp. A weight of 160 grams before removing any links to fit my 6.5-inch wrist. We get a multi-layered dial design with numerals at 12, 3, 6 and 9. These are recessed sub-level 0 of the blue dial, while the indices at these hours are raised above the dial. The arrow-style hands are sharp in the context of time telling as well as visual appeal. We get a signed screw-in crown as well as a screw-down case back. The bracelet is another win, with a 3-link design, screw pins and a milled and signed double pusher clasp. The inverted end links keep the lug-to-lug length down to 47 millimeters. For $55, this is a definitive bargain watch. For number 2, we've got the Pagani Design PD1779, the Moon Dark Watch. This is another Omega homage, yet this beast is quite polarizing in appeal. You either love the dark styling signaling the obscure and ominous nature of the dark side of the moon, or you simply overlook the complex and potentially slightly over-engineered dial design. The dimensions of the watch are a diameter of 42 millimeters, a lug-to-lug length of 46 millimeters, a height of 13.9 millimeters due to the boxy sapphire crystal, and a lug width of 20 millimeters. The leather strap tapers down to 18 at the clasp. Now on the perforated leather strap that we have here, the weight is 90 grams, but if you go for a stainless steel bracelet, the weight will go up to 145 grams. The semi-skeletonized dial layout with the beady and grainy dial texture is intertwined with bridges and gears below the 3 chronograph dials. This is a functional VK63 mecha quartz chronograph with a sweeping seconds hand and 0.2 seconds precision. The dial is placed under a domed slab of sapphire crystal, treated with anti-reflective coating to minimize reflections. There are 3 color options available. There's bright yellow, red and toxic blue. The accents on the dial and the tachymeter scale as well as the strap highlights will be finished in the color of your choice. A price of $70. Well, it's quite a classy and a unique watch indeed. For number 3, we've got Cison C763, and this is a split second chronograph with 3 color variations available. This blue with silver subdials, a silver with blue subdials, or an all blacked out version. The watch is not just a quartz chrono, it's a split second chrono with a small seconds hand retropant or catch-up functionality. Although it's not perfect with the decorative tachymeter scale on the periphery of the dial. But the way this timepiece was put together is another level. It looks and feels much more expensive than its price tag. On top we have a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective treatment, a stainless steel case and bracelet, signed screw-in crown and screw-down case back. The inverted end links integrate seamlessly with the head due to the same brush stroke on the links and the lug hoods. The bracelet's fluidity and link articulation are also on another level. Although my favorite feature is the grainy and crystal-like coarse pattern of the dial, contrasty and all for legibility. The loom is also quite impressive. With a diameter of 42mm, a lug-to-lug length of 48.7 and aggressively downward sloping lugs, this largish watch can fit a wrist size, well, from 6 inches up to a large wrist size. For $50, this is definitely a very sharp price. At number 4, we have a purposeful beast, the Addiesdive Super Diver 1000 meter water-resistant watch, the MYH6. This is a special timepiece. The sapphire crystal on here is 3.6mm thick. The bracelet untapered at 22mm. The links are brushed, refined, thick and squared rather than rounded on the top layer. Yet there are no sharp edges. The refinement on this bracelet is awesome. The diameter is 46mm though, yet the height is just 14.2mm. The lug-to-lug length is actually smaller than the case diameter of the 46mm, since the bracelet spring bars are actually under the head. The case design is a monolithic structure, with the exhaust valve on the left and a meaty 7.4mm signed and screw-in crown on the right. The chili blue luminosity is staggering in terms of brightness and longevity. The loom is applied to both the dial and the 120-click ceramic bezel. Powered by Seiko's self-winding automatic NH35 provides for a hackable 24 joules movement with 42 hours of power reserve. For $80, this is a collector's item or a very water-loving individual. At number 5, we've got the Bena BY5176. This is the most budget timepiece of this collection, priced at just $30. But does it provide the kicks? Paying tribute or a homage to a horological icon, but treated like any other beta watch, and it will and should last. Featuring a stainless steel case and bracelet, a self-winding automatic, 50 meters water resistance, and an exhibition case back. Dual color loom, green on the indices, blue on the hands. With dimensions of a diameter of 41mm, a height of 14.4mm, a lug-to-lug length of 50.5mm, and a lug width of 21mm, the bracelet does taper to 18 at the clasp. It's also got a weight of 140 grams. Of course, shortcuts had to be made to achieve the ultra-budget price, but at $30, I am not complaining with any of these shortcuts. The matte black dial offers plenty of contrast for great legibility. Orange and green accents look fresh and interesting when catching light play. The orange lightning hand sweeps the dial circumference. The dual loom is bright and beautiful, but unfortunately short-lived. The Seagull automatic is not hackable, yet the engine room looks great through the exhibition case back, especially with the decorated rotor and blue accents on the gears. So once again, for $30, we are getting plenty. Right, so this is just part 1 of the haul, and we've covered the 5 budget watches. The links to all of these watches that we've covered today will be in the description below the video. Check them out. But just for you to be aware, there will be a part 2 of the haul coming in the next couple of days, where we'll be discussing slightly more complex watches, slightly more expensive watches, also around the $70 to $100 region. But we're going to have Seasterns, we're going to have some Sudges, some Cruidlands, we're going to have a brand new steel dive watch which was introduced at the start of 2024. So again, another 5, maybe 6 watches which are very exciting. Well, depending on what gets delivered in time for the second part of the whole video. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you liked any of the watches we covered today, check them out in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.